Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garman. Here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And well, we are live on the socials right now, except not YouTube and Twitch, but we'll be on there on demand later. And well, we're definitely not going to be going through the everything at the Game Awards. We'll kind of give our general impressions and favorite things. And obviously, there's a lot of things that have come out of that. So we'll talk about things that have come out from the Game Awards as well. That God of War TV show seems pretty epic. We got Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion impressions from both Mark and I. And we've got a heck of a lot of other stuff as well right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. Well, so just so we can get the housekeeping out of the way, of course, if you're the first time you're watching us here or it's the 100th time, we always appreciate you. Welcome to the show. Hope you like it and stick around. And if you can't watch live or whatever when we record, we usually record pretty late, so that's okay. You can always watch on demand on YouTube, WTM Network channel there. You get not only what we do here, but also all of the other stuff. We have Tata Keiki that does anime. We have MMA from Marks that does mixed martial arts, and we have a whole crew from Mark Radlich that does movie reviews. They just did the Avatar Way of the Water review, so if you wanted to check out their thoughts on that, you can certainly do that. Metal music, TV shows, everything there, they cover that. So we pretty much have a big smorgasbord of stuff here that you can enjoy. You can also, we have a W2 network on Twitch you can watch the show on as well if you prefer Twitch. We also have a Facebook page, W2 Network. We have our Twitter. You can watch us there. And also, if you prefer to just listen on your podcast place of choice, which, you know, that's still how I enjoy most of the things that have now gone on video. I still listen to podcasts. You can do that on any podcatcher of your choice, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, wherever it is that you like to listen, we're on there. And you can subscribe there, and then anytime we do a show, you can catch us, and you can subscribe to the whole network on there as well if you want to listen to other folks' stuff here. So that being said, let's get on with the show here. I know it's probably the oldest thing that we're going to talk about, but it's probably still the most newsworthy thing that's happened since we're kind of towards the end of the year. This is when everybody's doing their own game awards, their own choices for who they think is going to be the winners. So you don't really get a ton of news, that kind of thing. Things are kind of like taking the break before we get into the next year. So I don't want to go into like everything that happened and all that stuff. It's been way past that. But what did you think about, I guess, the show in general compared to the other years? I mean, it got a heck of a, you know, it went over 100 million viewers at one point throughout the show, which is an incredible number considering it's, you know, only 10 years old, about to be 10 years old next year. They seem to give the awards a bit more clout, even though they still skipped a lot of them. And I thought the announcements were pretty good, but what did you think overall, Mark?
I mean, it was fine. It didn't seem any like different than the other years they've done. I mean, they took like the judge speech went on for like a little too long. I thought, well, everyone thought, and that kid in the end should be shot, but that's about it.
Yeah, he was, I think, arrested, or at least they tried to charge him for that. But
I mean, I think the only thing I remember really from the show is like everyone on Steam trying to win the Steam Deck from it.
yeah, I thought that they did a really good job of making the awards they did announce very important, with having the big name actors, which I think shows a lot of how the show has progressed. And it really is it did feel like a little bit of that Oscar, a little bit of that Golden Globes. Like, look, Al Pacino can't read, but he's there. You know, like that's a big deal. For the
they
Game
should have done
Awards,
some Weekend at Bernie's and just propped him up in the corner or something.
But yeah, and the announcements I thought were pretty good. I like the fact that it didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome this time. Like a lot of times, the Game Awards feels like it goes on way too long, and by the end of you get to that like last hour, you're just waiting for it to end. It didn't feel like that this year, which I think is something that's worth saying. It's worth pointing out because I'm glad that they improved that. He really did actually like listen to people and know that we had complaints about that. And, you know, it's cool that he listened, you know. They did have some big announcements like that Final Fantasy 16 trailer. They had Armored Core 6. They announced is that where they announced the Horizon multiplayer?
No, they've just been talking about that, but no, they didn't show anything off or anything.
I couldn't remember because they've had the news come out about it since then, so it's like I couldn't remember if they showed some Horizon thing though. It was the DLC. They showed the DLC.
Yeah,
Forbidden West. You know, so Sony had the Street Fighter 6 got shown pretty early. They had that Dead Cells partnership with Castlevania, which was pretty cool during the pre-show. Hades 2, which that was, I mean, people were kind of talking about that, but it was still pretty shocking that they did it. This Stranding 2.
Right.
Overall, I mean, they had some pretty big announcements. And cool that, you know, we got to see them there. And then that clip from the Super Mario movie was pretty fun as well. So, yeah.
I mean, I showed him the trailer after it happened, but I showed him Jens the trailer rather, but that Crime Boss Rock-A City game.
Yeah.
I watched that and I was like, this is what Saints Row should have been.
Maybe yeah, they totally nailed the 90s, getting everybody from the 90s.
Maybe not from a gameplay perspective, because I'm not sure how well like the whole online thing is going to work or like first person stuff, but
right,
like from a cast perspective or from like a tone perspective, it's like, yeah, this is really what Saints Row reboot should have been.
Yes, exactly. That was like, man, all of these actors are on here and actresses. That's pretty awesome. I definitely want to check out how that all comes together for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we also, you know, got some other cool stuff on there. So, like, I think he pretty much nailed it as far as what you kind of want from the Game Awards. Again, like, would you love more awards being shown off and everything? But I think I'd rather what we got than a 5-hour show because we have to try to do everything in it.
Yeah, I saw some people complaining on Twitter, and my response was, "What, you want him to bring back G4 then?"
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like he has to cut something. So if you cut a bunch of the announcements,
I mean,
you know, like
personally, I would have cut.
Yeah,
I would have cut that at least one of the music performances.
Yeah, but I think he uses the musical performance to bring in the people that are not the hardcore gaming crowd, which I can kind of understand in a way. I don't care for them really. I mean, the one with the Game Awards orchestra, that one obviously is cool, but I tune out when we get to those where we're having.
Yeah, it's like no offense to Bear McCreary, but he's not gonna bring in people or like non-gamers because most gamers.
Well, but Hosier is,
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that you kind of just have to bear with it when it comes to that because unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But I thought this was the best Game Awards he's probably had, period. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment in of itself.
I would have said that if I won a Steam Deck.
Oh well, yeah. There's that too, obviously. Yeah, I think for the most part, that I'm glad that Elden Ring won Game of the Year, because I think we would have had too much crap talked about afterwards. God of War basically swept all the other smaller categories that it was in.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy about Stray winning all the indie stuff. Like,
well, it's the internet cat game. What do you expect?
Yeah, but still. And then, Xenoblade got robbed for best score. But other than that, yeah, they pretty much nailed everything, and it was a good show overall. There's a lot to take out of it as far as what's coming, and one of the things that they had Kojima there to announce Death Stranding 2 with some of the actors and actresses, and then we have a Death Stranding movie happening. So
yeah, I wonder who's going to be in the cast.
Is he gonna just bring everybody in from?
I doubt everyone, but I'm sure he'll get Norman Reedus in there.
Oh yeah, of course. He's got to be in there.
I think what's her name, Leah Sado, actually has a career, so I don't know if she's going to be too busy or not.
Well, maybe for the actual movie.
Well, yeah.
Which you would think is going to be the bigger deal,
right?
I mean, what did you? I still haven't really played Death Stranding, so I can't comment on. Like, what did you think about, I guess, the Death Stranding 2 announcement, and then I guess knowing that now we're gonna have a movie? I mean,
the game looked fine. Like, it looked. I mean, it's looking like he's finally mixing Metal Gear with Death Stranding, because like that thing is pretty big.
Yeah.
Movie might be okay. I mean, it's a weird game to adapt, I would say, because of how much like backstory there is, and just how much, like, I wouldn't say the game is like plot light, but there's a lot of you have to kind of infer, and they just kind of dump plot at you at certain points. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
I could see them trying the inferring stuff. I mean, that happens in movies. You can certainly get away with that. I don't know about sitting there for 10 minutes and just dumping plot on you, but
right.
There's enough action and enough drama in at least the cutscenes and things that I've seen that I could see it working pretty well as a movie. I mean, Kojima's always wanted to do a movie, so if he's not going to be allowed to do a Metal Gear movie by Konami, I think this is the best thing you're going to get, honestly.
To be fair, Konami's not doing a Metal Gear movie either, so.
Well, I'm just saying, if Konami would let him do, yeah, he owns Death Stranding, he can do it. But I'm just saying, like, if Konami were to let him do a Metal Gear movie, that would be awesome. But they're probably not going to. So
it would cost as much as the whole Avatar franchise.
God, that's I don't know about that, but yeah, definitely is for one of the movies, sure. I think that I like the fact that we're going down this road of video games are having all these adaptations and finally getting their due that they can.
Well, comics have been mined pretty heavily, so that's the only thing left.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, that's true. They've kind of been saying this for a while. Video games are going to be that next thing that they're going to try to see which ones they can come in to make movie franchises and make those things last. But, DC's trying to get themselves back on the map here. So if they can get that working, and then you get video game stuff, so why not? You'll have franchises for the next 2 decades or whatever.
Yeah.
To go through, for that matter. But I mean, that wasn't really the the only thing that kind of come out of that. They did talk about Armored Core 6 was one of the bigger games announced. It was, I wouldn't say it was a surprise because I think we kind of knew about it. I think it was a surprise that they announced it there.
And it was like the last trailer.
Right, the last big trailer. And then, they had to come out and basically say, like, hey, just letting you know that it's not going to be like Dark Souls with mechs.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, have you played any Armored Core games?
No.
It is basically menu focused to an extent. Like, here's the mission. Let's pick mission from a mission list and hit go, and then you actually play the game.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that they're in what they talked about here. They're highlighting that the bosses are going to be the main focus of the game, or the big highlight of the game.
That's the weird thing, because Armored Core never used to have bosses, or it used to have like mech, like just regular mech bosses, not building size. What the fuck this is going to be,
Yeah, I mean, they even went to the point of saying the essence of the battles in which the player reads the enemy's moves and then plays games with them is, of course, provided, as is typical from Software. But in this title, both the enemy and your own machine are aggressive and violent in their attacks. We're developing the game so the players can enjoy the dynamic and intense boss battles that only mechs can offer, along with the unique aspects of 8 Siege, such as how to assemble the right parts to take on the strongest enemies. So it looks like they're definitely trying to put some of the Dark Souls in it.
You know how, like, some Pokemon franchises or generations, you can carry over saves?
Yeah.
They used to do it with Armored Core also, like, way back in the day.
Oh, really? Okay.
Too bad you can't do that now. Like, I have an Armored Core 5 save from PS3. Let me load it in my PS5 and go.
I mean, but what would you do with loading that save?
I mean,
to have all the mechs, or
no? It's not really mechs. It's mech parts.
Okay, mech parts. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much build a mech from whatever you want. So different heads, different torsos, different arms, different legs, and then weapons, stuff like that. And it would carry over like some money as well. Because the game is like just basically like mech mercenary, the game.
Yeah, I mean, at least, between building this or making this, and they are going to make more Dark Souls type games, because he said that after winning the Game of the Year that they've kind of been inspired by everything that's happening around Elden Ring to keep doing their thing. Does that bring you some joy knowing that we're gonna?
I mean, I like Elden Ring because it's like an open world game. If they go back to like their like Dark Souls or Bloodborne style, I don't think I would like it as much. Actually, I can assure you I wouldn't like it as much.
I mean, they could have both, right? They could have.
Not really. It's kind of one or the other.
Well, I meant like you could have both, as in, one time you have more of the Dark Souls Bloodborne, and then the next one is more like Elden Ring.
Right.
So, and I don't think they all have to be these epic experiences. You could certainly have smaller ones as well to try to get more people. Yeah,
I think you're wrong about that. Or, the fan base would riot.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. They are obviously okay with waiting. So if he wants to make them all kind of big in length, then go for it. But I think there was definitely a lot of people that would love to have a Bloodborne 2, and not just everything be focused on like, okay, what's the next Elden Ring thing that they're gonna make?
Right.
But they got to get through Armored Core 6 first, and then we'll see what they do after that. For sure on that front. Then they also Hogwarts Legacy got a trailer during the Game Awards, and Then they also had like I think another like gameplay deep dive as well, and they announced that so not all the versions are going to come at the same time. I guess there's a way to make sure that the current console and PC versions are going to still come February 10th. So now they're going to have the PS4 and Xbox One versions come out April 4th and then of next year, and then the Switch is going to get it on July 25th. So if you're waiting for the, I guess, essentially last gen versions of those games, then you're going to be waiting a little bit longer.
I would say you're going to be waiting forever because I assume those will be quietly canceled down the road.
You think so, though?
Yeah.
After you, like...
Look what happened to Gotham Knights.
Yeah, but I don't know. After you go through the part of actually announcing all this, and then you're going to cancel it. I don't.
Or if it comes out, it's going to be like a really, really bastardized, version.
Yeah, I can imagine the Switch one's probably not gonna run well, and PS4, Xbox One probably be okay, but there'd probably be a big significant difference between the current gen ones and those.
Yeah,
for sure. We did mention the Horizon getting the DLC. There's a lot of Horizon stuff getting made. The TV show, the DLC for Forbidden West, the VR game,
and then the multiplayer game.
And now there's possibly a multiplayer game, which has not been totally confirmed, but there's been, uploads of 17 job positions for a new online project. Gorilla is mentioned in it, looking for a new lead world designer to begin expanding the Horizon universe to a multiplayer audience. There's a lot of, I think we talked about the possibility of it being an MMO. I think we said that I don't know if we want to see that necessarily, but
I just don't think Horizon has enough like lore or story to make it interesting, personally.
Well, do they really have to if it's just multiplayer focused?
Well, because you're still gonna have to play someone who has that stupid focus thing on his or her face, ear. Like, I guess they kind of wrote that a little in the second one, but like, the thing about the game is like she's supposed to be like a special character, and it's like now there's 10,000 of these people running around, this thing, and we're all trying to take on the robot woolly mammoth or whatever.
Yeah. I could see it working from a perspective of, that is one of the things that people like doing in those games, of just going out and taking those down, and one did that with a friend.
It just reminds me of like how they keep trying to spread Resident Evil like into like a multiplayer game, and they keep trying, and aside from the first one, that PS2 one, like they always fail.
Yep. Like I could see it being like a mode that you put in, like the mercenaries.
Yeah, but even like that didn't even like launch it. That's still not even out.
Well, the mercenaries mode for Resident Evil is
for Resident Evil. For Resident Evil 8?
Not reverse. I'm talking about that extra mode.
Yeah. But I was talking about reverse, like that. Yeah, that reverse thing. It's like
I think it could work necessarily from that perspective. I don't know that it's going to be this awesome thing that catches on. It may do decently well, like the Ghost of Tsushima one. I'm sure that if they ever do release factions for the Last of Us one, it will do well. But I don't know that it's going to be this immense thing that's going to be something that they need to keep iterating on constantly.
Right.
And making sure you have updates and all that stuff. I applaud them for wanting to keep expanding their universe, but I think it's also like bordering on it's becoming too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You're the one that plays, that's played these games.
That's why I said I don't think the universe can support all this crap. I mean, the TV show is different, but like
right,
the VR game, the multiplayer game, the inevitable, the DLC, which might be interesting, just
right.
from like I want to like explore like a Hollywood movie lot or something. And the inevitable sequel, it's it's coming down the pipeline eventually.
Yeah, there's gonna be a Horizon 3, just so they can, I guess, end Aloy's story or whatever they're gonna do with that.
There's never gonna be an end.
Maybe not. Maybe they just keep that thing going until they burn it to the ground and people don't want anything to do with Horizon anymore after that.
I mean, I kind of felt like that after the second game. So
it does say something that once again it did not win anything.
Yeah.
At the Game Awards, it totally got beat by other games.
Right.
When it comes to that, so that's pretty interesting on that front that they didn't gain support in order to like actually win some of these awards. So sucks both times. Horizon gets just completely mauled by another game.
First game was
Breath of the Wild,
an accident, or that was an unenforced error. The second one, not so much.
Yeah, the second one they knew Elden Ring was coming, and they couldn't move it at that point. The first one, they didn't know the Switch was going to be the powerhouse that it has become.
Right.
And then obviously Breath of the Wild becoming that revelation for Zelda that nobody knew it needed until they played it. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing when we come down to this for Horizon. Is something else going to... I mean, that VR game is obviously only going to reach a certain audience.
Right.
But are they going to try to do better about whenever that third game comes? Don't put it in the same month and a week before one of these other big games.
That'll be right when Elden Ring 2 comes out.
Yeah. That'll be the thing that you have to deal with after that. So just to stay on the Sony front here, because we're already talking about a Sony franchise here. God of War, we had talked about this before. We knew that this was in development, but there wasn't ever really an announcement from Amazon itself saying, hey, we're working on this. Hey, it's happening. This is what it's based on.
Yeah.
All that. Now they finally have come out and said it. And so that's the thing is it seems that it's like it's going to be pretty epic.
You may want to tell what it is.
Well, the God of War TV show, I said that. So it's going to be based on God of War 2018. They said it's going to be very faithful to the story. Take that what you will. I mean, Amazon says that in the quote, they say that, Amazon is known for adapting things very well.
Tell that to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I don't know about Lord of the Rings because there were certain things I think that they knew they weren't going to do better than Peter Jackson, so they just didn't touch it. But that being said, could they do this really well? Sure. Am I going to be interested? Yes. Do I want it to succeed? Yes.
I don't think they're gonna get. I mean, I know he said he wants to do it, but I don't think they're gonna get Christopher Judge to do it.
No, but I don't.
I can see him having a role, maybe like Kratos as a dad or something like that. But I think that dude is too physically messed up to do it.
Yeah, he had mentioned it in that speech that he did, where he doesn't know how much longer he's gonna be able to do creative.
He's almost 60, I think, or he might be actually over 60. Let me check. And like one reason Ragnarok got delayed is because he had to get like knee and hip surgery done.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Like, that's not. I mean, yeah, like you can't exactly carry on a Ragnarok or God of War TV show. Like, yeah, he's 58, so he's almost 60. So,
I mean, it does have some really good writers and a great showrunner in Rafe Judkins, who did The Wheel of Time. They're all going to be also serving as executive producers, and Corey Barlog is involved here as well. So,
didn't The Wheel of Time only last one season?
Yeah,
no,
but
it's still going on. No, it's still going
on. Yeah. But I mean, and it's supposedly really good. I think I've watched like one episode, but still, the thing is, if they're gonna try to be faithful to it, I'm down for that. It looks like that's what HBO is doing with Last of Us as well. So if that's how they're going forward with doing these TV shows, that's gonna only make them really good for the people that have played these games, and then also bringing people into the gaming universe as well through those shows. Yeah. So
they're not gonna Resident Evil it.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, if you're gonna do Resident Evil, just don't even bother, because all they seem to do with Resident Evil is just, how can we butcher this even more? And it looks like they're not trying to do that. Everything seems positive. They even put in there, if you never played the game, you're going to fall in love with the show and feel very much invited to play the games. We think this is going to be huge. The Last of Us show has that feeling every time I watch one of the trailers. So hopefully once we actually get footage of this, it's going to be pretty great, epic, and we're going to be wanting to watch it,
Yeah.
So, I mean, we haven't really seen anything of the Sony side for Horizon yet either. Let's see what that is going to be, quite honestly.
Right.
Because that's the one I'm interested in. Is that going to follow the story for Horizon very closely, or are they going to try to not really make that like the games? What are they going to do with that? We'll see.
I mean, they're not even making it yet, so there's almost nothing about it.
Yeah, we don't even know anything really about the cast or anything like that either. So, but I mean, talk about bringing gaming experiences to another realm. We didn't do a show where we got to talk about Henry Cavill leaving as Superman. It's funny because he left The Witcher. We talked about him leaving at The Witcher. Then at the time that we didn't do a show, he was going to be Superman. Then James Gunn got brought on to be like the head of the DC, universe reboot. And then they basically aren't bringing back anybody that was part of that. Even The Rock, he came out today and said that Black Adam's not going to be part of the first run of whatever movies they're going to do. He said that, they're not ruling out that he might come back later, but right now, that's not in the plans. And then Henry Cavill made a statement saying he's not going to come back as Superman either. Gal Gadot's going to come back as Wonder Woman. But he is going to bring in a Warhammer 40K franchise to make films, TV series, and other content.
Well, it's a TV show on Amazon, but
I think he also wants to make movies eventually.
If he had enough of a budget, it might be interesting. But that's an expensive universe to screw around with.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, if somebody wants to do it and he's a fan of the games, I mean, I don't think I'm going to give him a shot at doing it. Right?
Yeah. One quick thing. Did you see the Rock's like the thing about the Rock and not wanting to be in Shazam 2?
Really? I mean, it doesn't surprise me because apparently he didn't want to lose to Superman either.
Yeah, but so, it's like Black Adam is a Shazam villain, like, you idiot. Like, he's not like the greatest character ever, and the fact they have made a Black Adam film in the first place is nuts. But it's like, yeah, you should be in Shazam too, because the goal is to have you fight Shazam, not you dink around in your own stupid movies.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. He's supposed to like come in, but I guess because he's The Rock, he doesn't want to be losing. And I get it that he's trying to protect his brand or whatever. But honestly, dude, people know that you're not the actual character,
right?
Like, I think he tries to put too much of himself in these things. The same thing happened with the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, that worked out
deal.
Well.
Why that fall out? Well, that he had a fallout from that because he just apparently doesn't want to look bad in any of these movies.
I mean, the Warhammer thing might be interesting. I guess it depends on where they take it from the show. I mean, take it from the. There's not really a story. I mean, there are novels and stuff, but there's not like an overarching like Warhammer 40K story, except for like the Horus Heresy stuff, and that's kind of a nightmare to get into. So
isn't there like comics or books or?
Well, yeah, but it's not. There's not like it's not like a unifying like plot of Warhammer 40K aside from like the the emperors and the chair and all this other stuff and chaos reigns and but yeah.
Well, Austin Foncannon, who actually used to write for us at the site, he's a big Warhammer player, and he says he's stoked that Henry Cavill is leading the charge for this. I mean, I think that's great when you get a celebrity in the Hollywood world who's an actual fan of this,
right?
Actually be able to get this greenlit for one, because I mean, talk about like this is a niche thing. I mean,
it's gonna be real funny though, because also Warhammer 40K is very male dominated,
right?
Like all the Space Marines are men essentially, so it'll be interesting the PC crowd going like, why aren't there any women in the armor? It's like because there aren't. Like,
I mean, they might change that.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, they're gonna like really screw this up, like Starship Troopers.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna change that in order to make it a bit more, in line with the 2020s, where you will have that. Much to the complaints of people, I'm sure. But this is cool that it's happening. At least Henry Cavill's doing his own thing now that he is out of two big franchises.
I guess he didn't want to be Bond.
Yeah, no. I'm still hoping that Idris Elba will eventually take the Bond role, but I also understand him not wanting to sign on to something that could be like 10 years of his life that he's stuck to.
I talked to Jens about Idris Elba for a second. I mean, he's a great actor. Don't get me wrong. He is a terrible movie star. He's a great TV star, not a great movie star.
Yeah. Great in commercials. I'm sure he's going to do great in that Phantom Liberty DLC for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of his role in Thor, I think people like but I think it's also not necessarily his fault. I mean,
no, he picks bad movies. I mean, that's a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's more the thing of it's not necessarily his fault. It's that the movies wind up not being great. So
yeah,
he kind of suffers on that end.
Yep.
And I guess to Well, this kind of ties into the Game Awards as well. Before we go too far from that, because there was a reveal of a Bayonetta Origins game that's going to come out like early next year.
Yeah,
which that was surprising. I think like if we knew anything about, if people knew anything about it, nobody was talking about it at all. So this was definitely a surprise when they announced this Bayonetta Origins game, and then you have that it's like in a different art style. It looks more like it's out of almost like a children's book.
it looks like Okami, kind of.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Okami, that too. And yeah, I mean, I'm interested in playing it, but then this kind of led to like, okay, where are we going with this? Is there going to be more of these? And Hideki Kamiya basically came out and said, I don't want Bayonetta to ever end. I'm gonna pitch a Bayonetta 4, 5, and 6 to Nintendo. I'm gonna be doing more Bayonetta stories.
Well,
like,
hopefully they run better and aren't as all over the
well,
place.
I mean, if they're
3.
on the Switch, then there's not a whole lot he can really do there. But I mean, what do you think about this? Like, just could Bayonetta really have like its own universe, or where you have games that are about the side characters and stuff like that? And
I don't think so. Like, I mean, this is a prequel, prequel, so maybe that's interesting enough. But like, no.
yeah,
it's like when they tried. It's like when they tried to make like Devil May Cry spinoff in like Virgil or Dante's son, or not.
right.
I think it was his son. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is obviously going to be interesting because it's a prequel, a kind of origin to Bayonetta story. But yeah, when you start branching out to the side of characters, stuff like that, I think you're going to start getting diminishing returns. Could there be a Bayonetta 4, 5, and 6? Sure, there could. But, and he better hope that the Switch has, whatever the Switch 2 is, or the next Nintendo system is, has a lot better hardware in it. So it can run that better. Before we go too far from, because we were talking about that Warhammer 40K thing as well, Austin had a kind of retort to what you said, that the lore is all over the place. It's got a giant linear story, but it's all war. Battles here, battles there. It allows freedom for storytelling. If it's in the 40K setting, it'll be after the Horus Heresy, so plenty of Marine chapters to pick from. Rumor is that he's playing an Ultramarine. So, and he does say that there are female Asteries and Battle Sisters. So
I only know it from the games, and they're all men in that. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
except
like we said, there's a lot of lore there.
Except for like pilots and shit like that, which doesn't count.
Right. But I mean, there is going to be that's going to be interesting. He's got plenty of universe to go through. He knows that story, so he's going to know what he wants to showcase in that. So that's what's cool about having a fan embrace that. But is he going to get the studios to go for that? That's the thing. Is whoever's going to be doing the TV show with Amazon, are they going to give him carte blanche to kind of just, all right, you run the show, whatever, or is he going to have to make a lot of sacrifices? And
right.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the telling thing on how good that winds up being, is how much is he going to have to, deal with that. So one of the stories that did come out of the Game Awards, and this is going to start a whole run of talking about Microsoft here. I was trying to put it off as much as possible because it also ties into the freaking Activision-Blizzard acquisition thing that seems like we're never going to stop getting stories about. Microsoft was basically, or Xbox was basically, aside from commercials for Game Pass, And the fact that Phil Spencer and Sarah Baum were there, non-existent at the Game Awards.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. They didn't show anything. I mean,
they showed nothing.
Yeah, they didn't even try.
There's a lot of thought that maybe they're just making themselves look like they suck so they can get this merger through.
Maybe that might be valid, but like the funniest thing was like that High on Life game came out like last Tuesday, and they should have had a fucking trailer at the Game Awards going like, "Hey, this game's out in 3 days or 4 days." Like it got released and like no one played or like no one even knew about it. Like I thought it was gonna be out like next year sometime in like June or something, but like it's out now. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I knew it was coming, but I agree with you. The like suddenness of which it would just drop was like, oh, it's out now. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, you have a big Game Award show thing. Maybe show a trailer and say out Tuesday or
Yeah, even that, like and it's not your game, right? It's a third party, like basically like at the most, if not indie, like maybe you can call it AA game. Yeah. It wouldn't affect you in the acquisition talks or whatever to have at least that and say, hey, December 12th it's out, go play it. I have it downloaded. I haven't been able to play it yet, so I can't give my thoughts on it. But the general consensus is that it's not the best game. It's a wonderful, like, entertainment thing. It's funny. If you like Rick and Morty, you're gonna love this.
I've heard it's only if you like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but it's not. As a game, it's very basic. It's not something that's gonna knock your socks off gameplay wise. You're basically getting through the game to get to the next comedic bit. Apparently there's like full-on movies that they made that you can watch inside the game, which is kind of astonishing in itself. So that's cool. And it's on Game Pass, so I can just try it out. And if it doesn't roll with me, I can keep playing some of the things that I'm playing that we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, and High on Life is apparently doing extremely well also, even without the help of Microsoft giving it a lot of advertisements. It's the biggest launch of 2022, which, to be fair, considering how this has not been one of the better years for Game Pass, this has not been a year where you've had a huge slate of third-party big third-party grabs by Microsoft that are showing up on here. Once, they had the Rainbow Six Extraction at the beginning of the year, and then after that, they were really quiet.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think, again, Sony is obviously playing a hand in this, that they are trying to prevent this from happening as much as possible. I mean, obviously, they're also not going to really promote MLB The Show doing amazing because that's a Sony game, actually. And so the fact that High on Life is their biggest launch and biggest third-party Game Pass launch of all time, that's impressive. The biggest third-party Game Pass launch of all time, that's impressive. The biggest launch of 2022 is not really that impressive when you look at Microsoft had no big first-party AAA games. They had Pentiment. Grounded finally got off game preview. And Pentiment's a great game in its own right, based off of reviews. I haven't played that yet either. But I don't know that it's this huge accomplishment that they're obviously trying to make it seem like.
Right.
But it's still cool that people are playing it. I think it's second right now in the most played games on Game Pass. So that's positive. It doesn't have the greatest of scores, like I said, because it's really an experience more than a game. So it's perfect for Game Pass. You can try it out. If it doesn't vibe with you, then you stop playing it and move on to something else. I think if you're asking people to purchase it, that's where you run into an issue there.
Yep.
And just one thing, another thing, since we're on this talking about Game Pass here, There's thoughts from Microsoft about that they may have a ad-supported tier of Game Pass. We've known about the possible that they could have a cloud-only tier. That's kind of been thrown around for a while, but obviously Microsoft would have to beef up the cloud service. Right now it's not as good as it's serviceable. It works if you just want to play the game. But I think even if you try to put it on TVs right now, it's not great because it's only hit 720p, I think, which isn't great for, playing on your big TV. That's cool for the Switch, but not when you're trying to play big games like what the Xbox has. And, I think they need to improve that. But could they do an ad-supported tier that I don't know what you take out of it? Do you not have PC Game Pass or
every half hour just watch a commercial?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm assuming it would be when you first start up the game. Anytime you go back to the home menu to switch out games, or it would play an ad or something like that. I don't have a problem with that because as somebody that tries to save as much money as possible with these streaming services, anytime except Netflix that is totally butchering their ad-supported thing. Like, I don't know why Netflix can't just have an ad-supported tier for every single one of their tiers instead of let's totally downgrade everything just to have an ad-supported tier. That seems stupid to me. But
they're trying to make you spend money. It's not rocket science here.
Well, no, what I'm saying, okay, why not give me save me a little bit like Hulu does or like Disney does, right? You save a little bit and you get ads. So I'm getting your ads, which are helping you pay for this as well. And you're saving me money. Not the Netflix thing where you're downgrading what I get to have your ads. That's
probably because they have the metrics that ads don't actually work that well. So they're going to get more ads later on. So why not?
Yeah. But it does. I've just learned to live with the ads, so it doesn't bother me if they introduce something where it's Game Pass for consoles only, and it's got ads or something. But I get the Ultimate because I like having the PC and the cloud stuff. So
it's gonna be like that one scene in Ready Player One where it's they try to introduce ads in that thing. And it's we have 23% of the screen is actually usable, and the other 67% is just all ads.
Yeah. And just to bring up something that Austin says in a comment here, since we're talking about, we're about to bring up the whole next stuff in the merger. Sony is Sifu is not exclusive to PlayStation. It's already out on Switch, and it's been out on PC. That it's coming to Xbox, I think it's coming to PC and Xbox at the same time. But that it's coming to Xbox has nothing to do with Sony. Sony just played for time of exclusivity is what happened probably. And then they let Nintendo have it first because Nintendo doesn't compete with them. As Sony has said many times in this whole fight with Microsoft, is that basically Nintendo is on its own little island, and they admitted that, and they're not competing with Microsoft, whereas Microsoft's trying to bring in Nintendo and say, hey, look, they are competition as well, and they seem to exist fine without any of this stuff. So, I don't know what Sony's problem is. But the newest thing here for the merger that we haven't really talked about yet is, I think we hinted that this could happen, but it has officially happened that the FTC they're not trying to completely derail the deal, but they're blocking it to try to get Microsoft to make concessions, which still seems like we're trying to protect Sony's market leadership instead of actually protecting the gamers. But whatever.
Well, some gamers are suing Microsoft to stop the deal. So, case in point.
Right, but that's not gonna hold water. The FTC basically is, trying to stop it. They, they've all gone through. The CMA is doing it. The EU is doing it, even though the EU and the CMA are actually going a bit backwards on it. And in fact, the EU has sent out documents to, I think, over 100 devs trying to ask them what they think is going to happen. So that's interesting. The FTC basically just wants Microsoft to make concessions here for Call of Duty and anything else. And Microsoft's already trying to do that. They've offered that 10-year deal to Sony. Nintendo and Steam already signed theirs, actually. If this deal goes through, Sony still has not. And now they're even offering Call of Duty is going to be available to be on PlayStation Plus. I mean, what do you think about this? Like the fact that, hey, this is one of Jim Ryan's big deals, right? He doesn't want Call of Duty going on Game Pass, and then the only option that Sony has is that, oh yeah, on PlayStation you got to pay $70. So now you could technically get the PS Plus service and also get Call of Duty. Do you think this makes it fair then?
I mean, it depends on with PS Plus, it's only on there for like a month. With Game Pass, it's theoretically year round or forever.
Right, yeah, so because it would be a Microsoft product at that point. So technically, yes, it would not come off the service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it would just be like the free to play stuff or like the whole game or just the multiplayer part.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have to be the whole game. Like, I don't think that they would go for only the campaign is on PlayStation Plus, and you got to buy the multiplayer.
No, I think it'd be the other way around. It'd be multiplayer on PS Plus, and you have to, if you want the campaign, you gotta go buy it, which is fine because no one, not a ton of Call of Duty players care about the campaign. So,
I mean, you're right about that, but I think also, like, that would just kind of defeat the whole purpose here of trying to say that you're giving them the same version on PS Plus that you're going to have on Game Pass, and then you do that. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I think this is good that Microsoft's doing these concessions, just so they can get the deal through. I'm not a big fan of what they did, not showing up at the Game Awards and trying to make it seem like they don't have, like, Fable is your game. You've had that for ever. Frozen Motorsport is yours. That you don't show off anything from Activision-Blizzard, or you don't show off even stuff from like things that you've recently acquired. I kind of get it, but you have games in development that those are your games. So why couldn't you show a trailer for something like that?
They can finally announce some Brute Force 2.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that they just show nothing.
Yeah,
is very disconcerting when Nintendo has stuff they're showing, Sony has things they're showing.
I mean, also it's not like, I mean, I guess one reason might be like it's not like Microsoft won big at this thing except for anything. I mean,
no, they didn't have anything.
Yeah, so.
I mean, yeah, but Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond was still there. I mean, so that's the thing. It's
and it was at the Microsoft Theater, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you don't have anything there is insane to me, and it's like I think it's really is, as some folks are pointing it out. It's a slap in the face to the gamers that they only have your console, and you keep telling them, "Oh, next year is going to be the year," and then. Dude, I mean, I get it if you don't want to show anything like, I don't want to show Redfall or I don't want to show Starfield because those are going to light the fire for the the whole FTC and all that stuff because that's from Bethesda and those are exclusive and look what they did. Look what they did. Well, I mean, you have other games that don't fall under that banner. So I just don't. So how long are you going to make everybody wait to like never show anything for your games while you're waiting for this thing to go through? Because this thing may not go through till the end of next year either.
That's the shadow releases. They'll just drop it.
Yeah, it's
Starfield's out, huh?
Yeah, like, oh hey guys, Starfield, it's there, like go play it on Game Pass. Like, well, damn, okay. They're saying you don't have to wait too long, but even if you're showing it in January, it's still disappointing. It's still very disappointing that you don't show anything at one of the biggest places to show announcements or whatever at all.
Yeah.
So moving on from that stuff. Hey, finally, Mark, I know you probably don't care about this, but I am very happy that we finally get these Final Fantasy Pixel remasters coming to Switch and PS4. I'm glad I waited and didn't just buy them on PC. I knew this would happen eventually, but damn, what is this, like 2 years after the fact? Spring 2023, you can buy Final Fantasy 1 through 6 as a bundle for $75. You can buy a physical collector's edition for $260, which includes...
That's when you're getting, right?
No, I'm not getting that. The only thing I'm splurging on is that Theater Rhythm Final Bar.
Yeah, the big
thing.
one. Which is still physical. It's still only digital, I think. It's not physical. So.
Yeah, but it's still, at least you're getting all those songs, which to me, that's worth it or whatever. But like, so here's what you get in this. You get physical versions, actually, of 1 through 6. The Anniversary Edition Goods Box, a bonus lenticular sleeve for the game package, a 2-disc vinyl record set featuring newly arranged game music with exclusive cover artwork, a specially compiled art book showcasing beautiful character pixel art, and 8 stylized pixel art character figures and window packaging. Well, that's a lot of stuff. I guess that's definitely worth $260.
I would say it's not worth $260, but what do I know?
So, what do you think about? Do you think $75 is fair for the whole 6-game bundle?
Not really. I'd say 70. 75 is a little weird.
I mean, to be fair, I think they said that when they first came out on PC, it was $90 for the whole bundle.
Did they sell them as a bundle or just separately?
No, you can buy them separately as well.
Yeah.
So it would technically be like what, like $12 a game. So that's not too bad. $12 a game. Yeah, I think that's fair. You're not getting any kind of deal if you buy them all together, which that kind of sucks. I think they could have lowered it to $60 or something for all 6 and save you some money there, like essentially like get one free or something.
Well, that's like those Mega Man collections, so you get a whole bunch of those for like $40.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, number one, 3 of them are NES games.
Yeah.
Now to be fair, like the latter 3 are like 3 of the best RPGs ever made, but still, you're also including 3 NES games in there. And you're going to tell me that it's not, you couldn't let people save a little bit of money on buying the whole bundle, but it's not bad if you want to own it all, you can. If you want to just buy 4, 5, and 6, which I definitely think you should definitely buy at least 4, 5, and 6. Because those are awesome, amazing RPGs that everybody should play if you're a RPG fan. But yeah, I'm just glad that they're finally coming, especially on Switch. I can have them portably and play them whenever I want. So, yes, thank you, Square, for finally doing something you should have done from the beginning. But whatever, you did it.
Just buy a Steam Deck, you'll be all set.
Yeah, but as we'll talk about, I enjoy having things on my Switch and not paying a bunch of money for Steam Deck stuff. Yeah, let's talk about some people leaving and some people returning to various job posts here. Daniel Allegre, who served as Activision-Blizzard's COO since 2020, is going to be leaving next year for a blockchain company, Yuga Labs. They're behind the Board Ape Yacht Club NFTs. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't fold in 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if he was going to stay on anyway after if Activision-Blizzard finally gets acquired by Microsoft. So he's probably just hedging his bets to go somewhere else. I don't know enough about the guy, but the fact that he's been in that role since 2020, and that seems to be since when Activision-Blizzard got worse, if not for longer than that, I would say maybe he's not done a great job. I don't know. I don't know if you have any comment.
Not really. I don't care as long as you know the CEO is not. The CEO is not important. It's when Bobby gets out of there. So
exactly. Which hopefully, as soon as that deal goes through, he is gone.
Well, they said he's not, but yeah.
Well, they said he's not because they have to say that right now. But I'm pretty sure he probably is going to be. I think Phil Spencer's kind of made that a thing that he is not going to deal with them much. So Chris Metzen, who did leave Blizzard in 2016, he said he was retiring from the company, is actually coming back as the general manager, as John Hyde, the general manager of Warcraft now. So he's going to come back as a creative advisor, which that's cool. He will be focusing initially on World of Warcraft and then obviously going on to other things.
I mean, Metzen was around for a while. So he's one of the big Warcraft lore guys. So this is probably good because Warcraft lore right now is pretty bad.
Yeah. That's cool that he is coming back. That's good for you that play WoW. Hopefully it does improve.
Yeah.
And he can add things to how it goes moving forward as well. John Carmack, who he has been in video games for a long time, is leaving Meta, and he
has nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah. He was a consulting CTO for Meta's VR projects, and he did not have nice things to say.
He sounded really burnt out about the whole metaverse thing, which is valid because no one wants that.
Right, a lot of people seem to be.
Yeah, except for the insane CEO of Facebook wants it, and that's about it. And it's no.
We have a ridiculous amount of people and resources. We constantly self-sabotage and squander effort. There is no way to sugarcoat this. I think our organization is operating at half the effectiveness that would make me happy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, he says he's done with VR, but I'm sure he'll go to PSVR or HTC eventually.
Yeah, that's not good though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just don't envision ever what, what's his name? Zuckerberg wants for those
I mean,
nobody wants to go to an office and have the headsets on them all day long.
He literally wants it to be like Ready Player One. I mean, the Oasis.
No, man, no. No, every time. Look, I like Ready Player One. I've read both the books. I've watched the movie. The movie's not great, but whatever. I like that series. I like that world. I don't want to live in it.
Yeah.
I don't think most people want to live in that. It's just that's one of those things like, okay, it's cool to say we got there and whatever, but nah, man. Just stop. Please stop having this idea that we all want that. We don't. In fact, that would be very frightening and scary that if we ever accepted to get to that place in the world. So, no. But yeah, I agree with you. John Carmack's probably going to go on to some other thing there,
or not. I mean, he could just get out like Will Wright did eventually.
Right.
Just say, screw it.
Yeah, he definitely could do that as well. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Amazon earlier, but this is kind of surprising though. They are working on publishing, and they're working with Embracer Group to publish the new Tomb Raider game.
Yep.
So it's not going to be Embracer Group publishing or just picking a publisher out of one of their hats or whatever. It will be built alongside Amazon from development all the way through publishing, according to a press release. It's going to be single-player, narrative-driven adventure that continues Lara Croft's story from the previous games. That's going to be interesting how they're going to do that. It includes all the elements that have made Tomb Raider one of the most revered franchises in gaming, giving players control of the confident, multidimensional hero Lara Croft, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. I mean, Amazon's been improving their video game output. I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of people liked was New World.
For a little while, and then I think it kind of fell off. But Lost Ark is still doing pretty well.
Yeah. So, hey, I have trust that they could do well. Yeah. Right now, Embracer doing anything with one of the big franchises is not going so well. So,
I mean, at least it's still like the original team is still doing it, or Crystal Dynamics. So.
Yeah, Crystal Dynamics is, and it's going to be interesting how they continue that from the other games.
I imagine it's going to be another a hard reboot.
You think so?
Yeah. Because the actress Camilla Luddington hasn't said like I'm back or anything like that, and she probably would have to say that.
Yeah, I could see them doing that just so that they don't have to be using a lot of the same actors and how we do this, and
yeah,
they can kind of go their own way on that point. But I think Amazon will do okay with it.
Yep,
for sure. You have some stuff that's not. I guess one thing is tangentially related to video games. I don't know that we talked about Yuji Naka getting arrested before.
No, he didn't. But he got popped like a month ago for insider trading.
Yeah,
he's getting popped again for more insider trading.
That sucks. So obviously, yeah, he did get popped for insider trading previously. Apparently, he has more insider trading based on the now defunct Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier, which that's really interesting that we are putting him in jail for that. But yeah, apparently he, according to TVSI, he claimed that he was made aware that Square's plans to develop the game with A-Team prior to its official announcement. Then he purchased 120,000 shares on the company at a total price of $834,000, before they announced anything. Yuji Naka, how far the mighty have fallen. That just sucks, man. Like, his overall time Square Enix was not great, and then like he just keeps getting arrested for things like that.
Right.
Yeah. It's like not great. That sucks, man.
Yep.
One of the great minds of video games, and this is what he's getting remembered for right now.
For a while. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, look, we all know Bono Wonderland sucked. It is what it is. Something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I I loved Ash from the first few seasons of the Pokemon anime. Obviously, he continued on for all these years, as well as the games kept coming. He kept being part of the series. He finally got to be the Pokemon champion recently, and now they have officially confirmed that he will have an ending. After 25 years, him and Pikachu will have an ending. The final 11 episode run is going to start January 13th. And then there will be a new show that starts with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the Paldea region, and they will have new protagonists Rico and Roy. And we'll have to see when those episodes start airing that feature the Paldea region. But I'm probably gonna be a little sad once we see Ash or Pikachu do that final wave into the sunset. But I'm glad to know that it's gonna have an ending, not that it's like forever ongoing.
Well, yeah, it's like that. It's like when Yu-Gi-Oh! Ended, or like the main 5-season story arc ended, but they kept going on later on.
Right. No, but I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! At least those were different, right? And it didn't really always feature Yugi. It had other people.
Right. That's what this is also. I mean, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I give them props because they could easily just keep going with Ash.
Right? So it lasted 25 years.
Yeah, it's like what's another year or two, whatever at this point. So, but it's I'm glad that they're like you could technically end. So, and you are gonna see Misty and Brock come back, and then they've already shown I think that Butterfree's gonna reunite with him, and I know Pikachu and all that. So that's cool. I'll be happy to watch that eventually.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to what we have been playing here. I guess we can start with the game that we've both been playing. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
Yeah, how far are you in it?
So I am in chapter 5.
Okay. I was in chapter 5, and then I basically like almost restarted the entire game.
Why?
Because there are ways to really break the game from the DMW and like certain, like I'm trying to like break the character or break Zack to like be God tier, and yeah.
I've kind of just done that with doing a bunch of the little mini missions.
Right.
That's what I've been doing, and then basically,
I mean,
you didn't
play Crisis Core on PSP, right?
No, I didn't.
So yeah, I mean, what do you think of the game? Or
I think it's I haven't finished it. Obviously, I've heard that the ending is apparently the most memorable part of the game. The story is kind of like okay. I like just knowing that there's another side of Sephiroth that we don't see in Final Fantasy VII. Like I like that there's.
You mean where he actually has depth?
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, there's a backstory to Sephiroth, right?
Yeah.
I like Zack as a character for the most part.
The one criticism I have of this thing is they replaced all the voice actors.
Right.
And most of them sound
remake guys.
No.
I thought that's what they said. They put it was with the remake voice actors.
Well, I mean, they replaced everyone, and they didn't keep like. I mean, there are characters like Angeal and Genesis that show up, that are in this game that aren't in 7 remake.
Right. Well, yeah.
Them also,
obviously.
But the guy that got doing Zack is terrible. Just know.
I can't vouch for that.
Just know he was much better.
Sounds great.
Yeah, in the original 7 game, or Crisis Core rather, like, he's much more of like the energetic puppy that like Angeal makes fun of him for. Like, he's way more energetic. And in this one, he just kind of really falls flat.
So they try to make him a little bit more like between the original character and Cloud.
Yeah. Which, hey, guess who shows up eventually?
Well, yeah. I think we all know that Cloud eventually is there with him. I think if you know anything about if you played a little bit of Final Fantasy 7, I think you would know that. So yeah, I think the gameplay is fun, and that's the thing is, this was obviously meant to be played in short bursts. It was on PSP,
right?
So the chapters are like an hour or so long. There's mini missions that you do that you can get items that you'll eventually get in the game by fusing materia or just finding it throughout the story. But like, because I've done so many of these mini missions, I already have like all the agas, which that breaks the game by itself. Like when you get all the aga level spells.
No. Trust me. Yeah. There's way further ways to break that game.
Well, but I'm already having no problem getting through.
Oh yeah.
The story missions, and then
once you start doing like I think it's like the mission 10, like because the mission structure is like 1-1-1-1 or like 4.
Right.
You know, the main mission is 4. The subheading is 2, and like the mission is like number 3 or whatever. Like there are some missions in the game that are really screwed up. But yeah, for like the easy stuff is like just really approachable and easy.
Yeah, and it looks a lot. They did a great job in redoing the graphics so that it would look a lot more like Final Fantasy 7 Remake. You know, the UI looks very similar. You'll tell the difference because they kept the pre-rendered cutscenes, so those look really bad compared to the.
They kept the only two I noticed were the intro is bad, like holy crap, and
the intro,
the Angel Genesis Sephiroth fight, like is not great looking. Like it doesn't look as bad.
No,
but holy hell! But
no, like, they said that anything that's in engine, like. That stuff they kept it all from the PSP.
No, because the summons are different. The summons.
Well, the summons, yes, the summons.
Yeah,
but the ones with the actual characters, that's from the PSP. Oh, yeah. So it looks weird. I'm playing it on Switch. Yeah. It runs really well. I haven't had one slowdown.
I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not running at 60. It's running at 30, but it still runs really well. I mean, I don't know if the characters are going to look that much better on PS5.
No,
but yeah, I'm having fun just playing the game. Like the gameplay is fun. Like that's the fun part to me.
It's like weirdly addicting, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I keep doing those missions over and over and over. I mean, because they are so quick.
Yeah, it helps that the missions only take like 2 or 3 minutes, or you know, it depends on how much you want to go hunting around for crap. But
yeah, but because I have gotten to that part where it's like, oh, I think I'm just gonna leave it. I got 2 of the items, and then the 2 that I wasn't gonna get, that's where I actually got something that's useful. So it's like, God damn it, I can't just leave this box here because it might actually be something that I might actually use. Right. But no, I like the fusing materia things neat. I like the fact that anytime you meet a character, they get added to the DMW. The DMW doesn't really mess with you. It's actually really just there to kind of like help you and give you random crap. Like you'll randomly get 0 MP. So
yeah. Although I do the only thing is I do kind of wish it was in more of like a level structure.
Yeah, I do like because the gaining levels is random too. That's also part of the DMW. I mean, so it's like
it is slightly random. Like there is kind of like an invisible experience counter, like that's always kind of running. But I mean, that's one of the ways you can kind of break the DMW in a sense. But yeah, so there's a kind of a more, at least with that, like a more traditional level structure, that'd be good. But
yeah, and I mean, I don't know if that has to do with because I've done so many of the missions. The side missions that like I'm at level 29 or something like that. I don't know if you just play through the story, if you'll be still at level 29.
I mean, you gain some there are some, Like I think I finished the PSP one at like 40 or maybe like 50.
Yeah.
It's been a long time though.
Yeah, I think that it's not necessarily because I've heard that they don't change anything. They left the game as is, so
Right.
it's basically like this is the
isn't...
same thing like Final Fantasy VII. Like we gave you the game the way it was, so you can play it. Because get ready, because I'm sure Rebirth is going to just flip all that crap on its head. So
yeah.
But I'm excited to get through the rest of the game and the ending that everybody talks about, and then we'll see what Rebirth does when we get to it. So
I think some of the later chapters are pretty short too, but I know like chapter 9 is pretty long because they want you to like go through do all the missions if you can.
Right.
Good luck with that secret boss, by the way.
We'll see. I only paid $30 for it because I didn't realize that I had all these points, and then having money in my wallet I also didn't know about it for the Switch, so that was cool.
I got it for 50, and I got the Steelbook, so I'm happy. Because a lot
I
of people
think
didn't.
It's definitely something that since we're going to be waiting so long for Rebirth, I don't know that you need to rush out and get it right now. You could wait for it to go on a sale in the middle of the year and play it then. But I do think you should play it before Rebirth, obviously. And if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII at all, this is not the game to start with. I think you should at least play 7, the original, or 7 Remake.
I actually think that's kind of I would actually say the opposite. Like if you never played Final Fantasy VII, this is kind of a good starting zone. Because it explains fucking Final Fantasy VII.
It does, but like I think it's better to like have the context of 7 and then go back and be like, oh wow, you get to know all this stuff and not just like go from here to 7. I don't know. That's just my thought from
the one kind of funny thing in Crisis Core is like I like how they explain a bunch of stuff that's not in 7 at all. Like Cisne is not in 7, like in any in anything. And like she's a great character, I think. Or like what's his name? Sang is not in. I mean, he's in Final Fantasy VII, but he's like barely a character.
Yeah, the other ones are in it more. Rude and
Reno,
Reno, yeah.
So, or like how it's funny in Crisis Core how prevalent cell phones are.
Yes. Well, it's the old like 90s cell phones though, like the flip phones.
Yeah, but like they're not even a factor in like Final Fantasy VII. It's so funny.
Yeah, and I think, and if you're a big Sephiroth fan, I think you're gonna like this because again, you get more context to Sephiroth as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I've also. I don't know. You want to go ahead and?
Well, we both played that Forspoken demo. I mean, what do you think of that?
It felt kind of clunky.
Yeah.
The way you do the magic spells is like really clunky. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the. Okay, I got to hit R1 to change it, and then R2 to hold it, and then. If you want to do a quick blast, it doesn't always work like that. And then there's the other spells that are on L1, and it's like too much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of got used to it, but like that's a weird game to demo because they just kind of throw you into it.
Yeah, they do kind of just throw you into it, and then the like parkour stuff, the like getting around is fun, and like I like dodging around and. All that stuff is her, and but I don't know, the magic stuff was kind of cumbersome a little bit, and then like the waypoints, there was like way too much. They had like put all 5 missions there in the front, like there where you could see them, and it's like, why not just do one at a time?
Well, it makes me think that the whole thing is just gonna be like open world. Almost like Final Fantasy 15 or something.
Yeah, well, makes sense. That's where the studio's from. But yeah.
I mean, you can talk about Chained Echoes, and then I'll talk about my crap.
Yeah, I've really liked Chained Echoes a lot. It's on Game Pass, so you can play it there, or you can play it on any other systems as well, or play it on Switch or whatever. But it's pixel art, like it looks like it could be a SNES game basically, and it feels very. It's old school JRPG goodness, turn-based battles, all that stuff. So if you've been missing a game like that, this is definitely one to check out. So there's a little bit of like you play different stories and they eventually just all combine into one to go on to like the main quest, which is interesting. I'm still probably pretty early in. I don't know how long this game is, to be fair. I love the battle system, though. I think it's very interesting that you have this bar that you have to like kind of fiddle with while you do attacks. Like you have to constantly watching it because they have this first part of the bar, which is like you're like pre get to everything. Then this middle part of the bar, which they call the overdrive, which is where you want to be in. And then they have the red part of the bar, which you don't want to get in because if you do, the enemies will be a lot more powerful and be able to hurt you more with their attacks and everything. I just was really impressed with how they make that work. There's a lot of characters on. There's supposed to be 8 eventually, but you can have a party of 4 in there at one time, and then you can switch out the parties, the characters whenever you want.
Yeah,
which that's pretty neat as well. As long as they're not staggered or dead, you can do that. Which I think again, this was really well done on their part. It controls really well. They move around really fast. It feels smooth. You have the way you level up attacks is interesting as well. So like you have like your actual attacks, like skills. Then you have like support abilities, and then you have some other abilities. And so you get like stars eventually for each character. And you can then decide what moves and attacks you want to do or want to gain. And then you can go through, and depending on how many of those attacks you get, then you go to a next system where you get more stuff. So
isn't it funny in Crisis Core how they have that like reward system at the end of battles that they introduced like in Chapter 5?
Yes. When he gets as part of becoming first
class, yeah.
First class, it like grades you on how well you do on your battle.
But then it gives you like, AP or MP. It's like, this would have been helpful in Chapter 2.
Well, no, I agree with you there that it would be helpful in Chapter 2. But it makes sense that because he's first, now you get this. And it really does help because when you do have those like overpowered spells, you can just knock out the whole everybody on screen, and then you can get get 40 points for your MP.
Yeah, you get your MP back from doing the one spell or 2 spells.
Exactly.
You get 40% back. So
you don't have to. But honestly, you get so much money in that game that you can just rebuy all the ethers and the potions and all that stuff that you want. You don't even have to really worry about that.
No, trust me. There's some stuff that is expensive that you will need to buy, like the Genji.
Oh, later? Okay.
I think that there's a whole armor set called the Genji set, which is like game breaking.
Oh, okay.
Like intentionally. And like one of them is like, it needs 1 million gil to buy.
Well, to be fair, I'm not playing on hard mode. I'm playing on normal.
No. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I've really been enjoying Chain Echoes. That's what I was playing mostly tonight. I was trying to. High on Life was taking, for some reason, way too long to download, so I didn't get to try that. I played that Forspoken demo, and then I got stuck on playing more Chain Echoes before we started. I was going to try to do at least another chapter of Crisis Core, but then I got hooked on that. So, yeah, definitely, if you're a big fan of old school RPG, JRPGs, I would definitely give this a shot. especially if you have a Game Pass. Why not?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, my stuff. I played The Witcher 3 on PS5.
Okay.
It's all right. It's what you expect.
Yeah. Does it look better?
Yeah. I mean, it still kind of runs the same. Maybe I can run like a hair faster, but it's still good. Yeah. It's like it's still like way too long and like meandering. And it's funny because like the game is like when you first put it up, it's like, oh, we included like several fan-made mods in the game, but it doesn't tell you what they are. Like,
okay.
And I have no idea. Like I guess some stuff is a little different than I remember, but that was like 5 years or that was 8 years ago. So, but yeah, it's still all right. Me and Jens played House of Ashes. It's one of those dark picture anthology games. Okay. Like, we didn't have a great run because of the 5 main characters, 2 died. And they're actually kind of my fault, at least with both. So we're going to replay it again. We started replaying it with the opposite characters. And they're going to hopefully like survive, have everyone survive.
Had y'all played the other ones?
We played the first one, that Man of Medan. That was like not as good. Like this is a little better at least. I just don't like the main actress. It's Ashley Tisdale, and she seems very
okay.
It's very improbable.
Musical.
Yeah, and like in this game, she's like military. Like she's like in Iraq, like military translator or whatever. And I was like, this is a little improbable, but okay.
Yeah, considering the other roles she has done, I agree with you. I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah. Well, it's still fine. I got like 2 weeks left in the subscription, so I got to start doing the review soon. Like, there's a real lack of content in that game, at least for right now. Because it's like,
you were telling me about that.
Yeah, it's like you need to get your reputation up in these 4 factions to progress the story, and it's like, I've done everything I can, or at least most everything I can, and I can't go any higher. I mean, I guess there are ways to really grind it out, but I'm not going to waste my life doing that. Like, oh, you can turn in these things that gives you, like these, treasures, gives you 15 reputation points at a time. It's like, woo! I only need 2,500 more points to get to the next level. So, do the math.
So, like, you did everything already?
I haven't done everything, but I've done like 90% of everything, or at least with the main quest line stuff. And it's like they finally introduced daily quests, and that does help. But they don't, unlike with like past games, they don't really repeat the next day. Or they do some do, but not a ton. So I said, all right, well, I guess I can, do the fish, world event again and get some paltry rewards from that. Last thing I'll mention, and this is a little while ago, but it's something funny. I hooked up my original Xbox console. Because I wanted to like check out something on it. I hit the power button and it was fine. I hit the eject button on the DVD drive, and it made a horrible grinding sound.
Eesh.
And I'm like, I already replaced the DVD drive once because I had one of the crappy drives. Like, I replaced it with the good one. And I'm like, what is this? Like,
yeah,
holy hell. And I took a flashlight and I looked inside. The belt that ejected the disc, like, broke in half.
Ooh.
Like the rubber band part. So I ordered another one, and I actually got it replaced. But it was just like really funny because I'm like, well, I guess I haven't turned that thing on in like 4 or 5 years, so I guess it just dried out. And then when I finally hit eject, it was like, nope.
It was like, oh, you should have used me.
Yeah,
more often.
But you wouldn't like. I heard that grinding sound. Like, what the hell is that? Like, I was like, holy crap.
That's like, oh crap, something happened here.
Yeah. But yeah, I was really wanting to finish The Witcher 3. I didn't finish the game or anything, but I finished the review. And then once it was submitted, I quickly deleted it and then started playing Crisis Core.
Oh well, hey, sometimes that's all. Yeah, and then to be fair, Witcher 3 is uh, who hasn't played that game at this point?
Right.
So,
I can
like, do
think of
you
one
really need
person.
to know?
Yeah.
Like, do you really need to know like that much? Okay, it
That's
looks better. It's still Witcher 3.
that's why my review is actually pretty short on 411 because I'm just like my first paragraph is like The Witcher, like it ain't rocket science. So I'll just talk
Right.
about my experience playing the PS5 version and go from there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't need to give you a whole breakdown. Like,
Yeah.
right. Anything else?
Nope, that's been about it. There's a game I want in the store that I'm going to try to afford soon or try to get if I can.
What
Ever
game
heard
is
of
that?
Tail Concerto?
No.
Okay. It's an old PS1 game where you play an anime dog in a robot suit hunting cats.
That sounds awesome.
And you shoot bubbles at the cats, and then you scoop them up and throw them in your backpack. It's all right.
Hey, that's cool.
It's also $400.
Oh, jeez. $400. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us here. We'll definitely be back. So I apologize that we haven't been on a good schedule lately. My personal situation hasn't been good. Essentially like homeless, so I come over here to my mom and daughters to do this recording, and then I'm either sleeping in a hotel or in my car. Right now we're waiting on an apartment to approve us. We got some good news today. Hopefully they got the last freaking documents they need, and the next time we hear from them, it's to be like, hey, you can come sign the lease now, which hopefully is like after Christmas. They call us in and go, okay, come sign the lease, and you're good. So hopefully we can definitely get a most anticipated games of next year show out before the year ends. I have to see how we're going to do the best games of 2022, because I think I've played at least 10 games that would fit. I haven't played a ton this year because of mainly this issue. So, and then this happens at a bad time where this is usually the time where I'm catching up on all the stuff that I didn't get to play throughout the year. So I haven't been able to do that. So that kind of sucks for this, but we'll get to it. We're at least going to do one more show for the end of the year. I don't know if we're going to do both. I don't want to commit to too much and then stuff happens, because once you're moving, that's another whole thing too. So it looks like the first big game of next year is going to be the One Piece Odyssey game, which is January 13th right now. So I'm excited for that. That looks like it's going to be really good. So then it's a proper like One Piece RPG, JRPG. So has turn-based battles and everything. So we'll see. I think you've talked about it a little bit of how you feel about the Fire Emblem Engage. Are you gonna get that?
I actually did pre-order the special edition copy, so I'll get that eventually.
Okay, so you won't have to wait too long to play your first big game of the year. I don't know. That demo didn't really convince me. I don't know that I'm gonna go rush out and buy Forspoken now, but
I mean, that's a game that waiting for reviews isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, that might be one of those where I just wait for reviews. Plus, who knows how long that One Piece game's gonna take.
I think I might like Forspoken because he seemed kind of janky, like Sonic Frontiers. So
yeah,
I may actually like it, but it's not exactly it's not technically broken, but it feels really weird. So that's why I like it. Isn't a good review volume, good review policy.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to go by there. So, but yeah, there's definitely some big games coming in January. We'll see, and we'll see what that year holds for us. But again, we'll come in and talk about our most anticipated games, at least before the year's out, and then we'll see if we get to those best games of 2022 before the year's out. But enjoy your Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week at some point. See you later.
Later.
Bye.